RocSports, I'm checking in, man. Shout out to Charlo. That's what we wanted to see. You see, I'm sweating. I was into the fight, man. That was literally everything. That was fight of the year. Crazy ass fight, for sure, for sure. Where do I start? This ain't even about to be a video on camera. You see, I'm not even in the recording, so this is gonna be an audio video. But let's get right into it, man. Let's get into it. All right. So first thing first, Boots Ennis. Man, what else needs to be said about Boots Ennis, man? He's the real deal. He showed up, he dominated. Castano Clayton was timid, he was intimidated, he was scared, man, from the jump. From the face-off, he did not want smoke with Boots. Boots sensed it, stayed patient behind the jab. First round, stunned him a few times. And then as soon as he dropped that right hand over the top, landed right behind the ears, all she wrote. Like we said, man, Castano Clayton is definitely not a bum, but he's just not on this level. And Boots is one of them ones, one of them special ones. But it's time, man. It's really time for him to step up. I want to see him step up in terms of, don't get me wrong, he has stepped up. So let me not necessarily say that, but I want to see him in there with somebody that's really going to give him some gold from the standpoint of where he can get experience. Remember when we was talking about like an Edgar Berlanga? And don't get me wrong, I'm not, by no means am I comparing the skill sets or, just how we view them. But just from the standpoint of how he was getting all these first round knockouts, obviously we needed to see more. We wanted to see him, develop some experience, and look what we've seen the past couple fights from him. So that's what I want to see from Boots. I want to see him get one of these names. Stanionis, Virgil Ortiz, I would love. Keith Thurman, I would love. Obviously, Errol Spence, I feel like we just need to see them fight each other. So I only want to include them. Ugas, any of those guys, man, I want to see him fight. Danny Garcia, I want to see him fight one of those, man. It's time. Just like it is for, as well as Virgil Ortiz. They pass fighting all of these prospects. I mean, all of these former champions or other contenders, man. It's time to put them in there with them dogs, because they one of those dogs. Boots is special, man. Period. And I love what he did. I love the talk between him and Errol, too. Both of them had some smart to say, some great stuff to say, in my opinion. And Boots was himself. Like, it wasn't nothing forced, you know what I mean? He just a dope dude, man. I hope he get back in the ring soon, because he was just came in here for a little light 15-minute workout. But let's get on to the main event. They picked up right where they left off, man. The first 6 rounds of this fight was straight fire. Fight of the year. First thing first, let me say congrats to both fighters, 2 warriors. They for sure left it all out. Both fighters. Castano has nothing to be ashamed of. He's arguably the second best fighter in this division. He's a tough man. That chin of Castano, he has to have one of the top 5 chins in boxing. And yes, I know he got locked out, but he got hit with he got hit with so much flesh to the chin and to the face all night long. And he was walking a lot through Jermell stuff, who we know has a lot of power. But like I said, they picked up right where they left off at. Castano working, trying to get inside, because obviously he's being the smaller fighter, the shorter fighter. He had no choice but to fight on the inside. And he cut the ring off well tonight. In moments, he cut the ring off well. Early on, he did. Well, I feel like some of that was Charlo allowing him to. But when he got on the inside, he worked, and Charlo was catching him with the bigger shots, the bigger, cleaner shots early on for me. But at the end of almost every round, for like the first 4 of those first 6 rounds, they was going at it, man, the last minute. If just exchanges after exchanges after exchange. Like I said, fight of the year, and it ain't close. It's going to be hard to top this. This is why we crave undisputed fights. And it's feel good to say that we got how many undisputed champions the past couple years? Like, this is really becoming a thing again. That's what's up. But again, this is pretty much what happened the last fight. They just picked up from 13, 14, 15. But once we got in the 4th round, Charlo rocked them. Don't get me wrong, they was rocking each other all throughout the fight, but he rocked them and hurt them in the end of the 4th round. And not that it necessarily slowed Castano down, but you can tell, like, he felt that, and it changed the fight in a sense. I felt like Charlo, he boxed early on in moments, like early in the round and stuff, and I felt like he could have made this fight very easy. He could have won a decision by outboxing Castano, in my opinion. between his angles, pivoting out, and the jab, just off the length alone, the reach. When Charlo, after those first 6 rounds, I felt like it took a lot out of both of them. And they both needed to, get that second win in. And when that second win kicked back in, they still was exchanging. But Charlo started moving some, and it was a wrap. It was over with. Castano had nothing. I believe it was like the 9th round or the 8th round when Charlo was just moving. He was just moving and catching him. Castano couldn't catch him, and Charlo would just stop and pop, sit down on the shot, and he was just catching him clean, but he couldn't touch him. Very clean round. He was boxing beautiful. Great game plan from Derrick James, as well as Castano team too, but shout out to Derrick James, man. Trainer of the year for sure. He's on the verge of possibly having 2 undisputed champions, and that's crazy in the same year. That's crazy. He's really a part of some history right now. I got to give Charlo big credit because I gave him so much for the first time for not doing it. He did not stay on the ropes this fight. He definitely picked his shots better. He was more aggressive. And he listened to Derrick James, man. He really listened to Derrick James this time around. You can see it. Arrow was even getting frustrated with him at certain points because I wanted him to pull the trigger in terms of being aggressive because he had him hurt. But he wouldn't for whatever reason, but he stayed more patient. Like I said, this is a testament to what I was saying about him getting rattled earlier. He did it. So I wanted to give him his credit on that. Charlo definitely dug deep. I was proud of him. I knew he had this in him, but I just didn't know. Like, I felt like the moment not necessarily might not be too big, but the moment might get to him from the standpoint that he might get riled up in the crowd. I figured it would be a Castano favorite crowd. I knew Castano would have his moments. I felt like Charlo would get rattled. Like, it was a very high chance that he could get rattled. So that was really what made me hesitant. As well as Castano being a great fighter. Like I say, him coming forward, his short, straight, accurate punches, hell of a chin, smart, tight defense when he's not exchanging, not in the midst of exchanges, but he's a hell of a fighter, man. Castano's a very good fighter. But like I said, from the first fight, Charlo just has a little bit more to his arsenal, and it showed tonight. Big shout out to Charlo. I hope this motivated his brother. Hopefully he can get in the ring and fight Caleb Plant or Benavidez at the Selecki. And yeah, man, I feel like Charlo, he doesn't have to move up. His legacy is already set. He can just defend his titles a couple of times and retire if he wants to. He's a Hall of Famer without question. He cleaned out a deep division. Well, he's cleaning out a deep division where he arguably cleaned out. But yeah, man, just get some rest in the meantime, and he's undisputed. People that don't have him on their pound for pound list, get rid of your whole pound for pound list. Period. RocSports, I'm checking out. All of my boxing, NFL, and NBA fans, like, share, and subscribe, man. Keep coming back. I'm gonna be dropping more content.